everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name's Claire and this is Joli. I make videos all about houseplant care, sharing tips and tricks I've learned over the years to help keep your plants happy and healthy. And today I'm going to be showing you some of the amazing benefits of hydrogen peroxide for your plants and how it can be used to resolve so many issues from fungus gnats to pests to root rot to fungal issues and so much more. It is honestly a must-have if you've got lots of plants. So let's get into it. So to break it down really quickly, hydrogen peroxide is basically just water with an extra oxygen molecule. It's used for loads of things nowadays, from household cleaning products to sterilisers to antiseptic treatments. I use it all the time for my plants and it literally just works like magic. It's definitely something I wish I'd known about sooner. Although it sounds really chemically and artificial, it's actually totally natural and occurs naturally in rainwater, hence why your plants often appreciate being watered with that as opposed to regular tap water. When you're using it for plants, you generally want to go for medical grade peroxide, which has a 3% strength. I'm going to be using this one today. I've used it many times before and it's really great. I'll link it in the description box below if anyone's interested. Instead of just talking about it, I thought it was easier to show you, so I'm actually going to head over to my friend's house. They've got a massive Dracaena plant that is desperately in need of some TLC, and I'm pretty sure I can use hydrogen peroxide in a few different ways to try and save it. Come on in. Come on in. So this is the plant in question. It's a Dracaena warneckii. It's been in this pot without any drainage holes at all for the last few years and has suffered with thrips and fungal disease on and off, and currently has fungus gnats really badly. Because this is such a deep pot and it doesn't have any drainage at all, I'm kind of expecting the roots not to be in the best state. They'll probably have had quite a lot of water sitting around them for quite some time. So yeah, I'm pretty much expecting to see some root rot. You can see here that they've taped up the soil for now to kind of keep the gnat infestation contained. If you've got fungus gnats or other kind of soil pests, but the infestation isn't too severe and your plant's got good drainage, you can actually just wait for the soil to dry out slightly and then water it with a 4:1 mix of water and hydrogen peroxide. I've done this before and then just sprayed the top layer of soil with hydrogen peroxide afterwards, and it's worked really well. But because of this and because of how bad it's got and the fact that the rest of the plant definitely needs attention, I think I'm going to repot it too, just to be on the safe side. Moving up the plant, you can see the leaves, especially at the bottom here, really aren't in a good way. Part of the reason is because they kept this plant in a really sunny spot for a while, and Dracaenas can burn really easily in direct sun, so some of these here are actually scorch marks. But as I mentioned, this plant's also suffered on and off with pests and fungal disease and potentially root rot, so I'm going to use hydrogen peroxide to make sure anything nasty is gone for good and doesn't come back. Also, before I get started, I think I'm probably going to give these damaged leaves a little trim back so that the plant can just focus its energy on the healthy growth. I took the plant outside to get rid of the soil, partly because of how many fungus gnats there were, but also I thought it might be quite smelly and stagnant just because of how long some of the water's been contained in there that hasn't been able to drain away. I also noticed that the plant had been potted in what looks like outdoor compost, which, although technically you can do, I personally never do for indoor plants, as it tends to be super dense and much more prone to pests. There was also way too much soil packed into the pot for the size of the root system. As I'd expected, some of the thinner roots towards the bottom were really dark and sludgy, so I just trimmed those bits back as far as I could without disrupting the root system too much, just leaving the paler, healthier looking roots. I then mixed 1 part hydrogen peroxide to 3 parts water and let the roots soak in this for a couple of hours. Hydrogen peroxide helps to kill off the bacteria that causes root rot, as well as delivering oxygen to the roots, so it gives them the best chance of bouncing back. I thoroughly washed the pot out and sprayed it along with all the crevices of the pot with pure hydrogen peroxide afterwards, just to make sure any nasty bacteria was gone. Hydrogen peroxide is such a great disinfectant. I use it to clean most of my pots before I reuse them, as well as my shears and any blades I use for propagating my plants. I've talked about this before as well, but I also use it to sterilise my perlite before reusing it. We then also drilled some drainage holes in the bottom of the pot so that the plant will be able to properly drain and won't collect water around the roots in the same way as before. To repot it, I used a combination of regular houseplant potting mix, perlite, orchid bark, coconut core and cactus soil to create a really well-draining, airy mix. Hello. Are you helping? Are you helping? No. The thing that I noticed as well when I took these plants out of their pot, I'm not sure how clearly you could see it on camera, but basically they were potted really quite high, and if you saw their root system, the root system's actually not that big. So that in itself can cause issues such as root rots and stuff like that. So seeing as this is a really, really big pot and my friends decided to go for this one again, I'm going to pot them slightly lower in the pot so the pot kind of works out, maybe the soil comes to about there, it works out to be slightly smaller. So that is my thinking on that, and I'm hoping that that should mean that they will kind of be happier, and then as they get bigger you can probably continue to use this pot and just move the soil up each time. You can also use hydrogen peroxide to sterilise your potting mix and get rid of any potential pests or eggs in the soil before you use it if you need to. I didn't worry about that on this occasion, as I planned on giving this plant and its soil a thorough soak through with it at the end. So I gave the leaves a really good wipe and then diluted the hydrogen peroxide with water in a 4:1 ratio, 4 parts water, 1 part hydrogen peroxide, and then just thoroughly sprayed all areas of the foliage, firstly to ward off any pests, and secondly just to make sure any areas that had been affected by the fungal infection were clear and free from bacteria. It's really important to dilute the hydrogen peroxide for this, as if you mix it too strong, it can be corrosive and really damage the foliage. I gave the plant a terracotta drainage tray and raised feet to help the water drain and avoid mess. I then used a 3:1 ratio of distilled water and hydrogen peroxide to give the plant a thorough soak through. Watering your plants with this every so often not only helps to kill and prevent pests such as fungus gnats, but the extra oxygen also helps to keep the soil aerated and promotes healthy root growth. Again, as I said earlier, it's really, really important to dilute the hydrogen peroxide, as otherwise it can actually have a really negative effect. So we've moved this plant to a kind of medium light spot, fairly close to a humidifier, and I'm pretty sure it should bounce back absolutely fine now. I'll post some updates on Instagram in the next few weeks to let you know how it's doing. One of the things that I didn't mention in this video is how amazing hydrogen peroxide also is for seed germination and root development. I actually tested this out recently on my Anthurium clarinervium seeds that I potted up, and the one that I used hydrogen peroxide on has literally grown so much quicker, so much faster, and is so much bigger than the rest so far. You basically just soak the seeds in a diluted mix with water before you pot them up, and it helps them to germinate. Also in my case, because I used a propagation box for mine, I just kind of spray them with a diluted mix of hydrogen peroxide and water every so often, and it helps to speed up the process. It's also really, really great for hydroponic growing because it helps add oxygen to the water and help get rid of algae and stuff like that. It is honestly just the most brilliant stuff, and yeah, I highly recommend it. If anybody's got any questions, feel free to drop them down below and I'll do my best to help. I really hope this video was useful. If it was, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, have a lovely day, and I'll see you in the next video.